Alright guys, I am reviewing 5 centimeters per second. No, 5 centimeters per second. It's an hour-long movie directed by Makoto Shinkai. It's licensed formerly by ADV Films, but currently Crunchyroll by the studio Comics Wave, incorporated in the year 2007. It was followed by a novel and a manga series of the same name. It's a drama, romance, and a slice-of-life film, and the film follows the life of a young boy, Takaki Tono, starting from the 90s up until modern day, where they all grow into adults. Now it focuses specifically on Takaki's relationships, more of the relationships due to the distance between them and their lives being set in opposite directions. Now I will say this, it is a very sad movie, and there is no shred of happiness in this movie whatsoever. Don't look for it. You're not going to find it. There's maybe 1 or 2 happy points in the movie, but it's not there. It's depressing. So, let's just skip on the plot. Now, the movie is divided into 3 depressing acts. Cherry Blossom, Cosmonaut, and 5 centimeters per second. Now, the first chapter, Cherry Blossom, focuses on Takaki and Akari Shinohara, 2 of the 3 focused on characters of the film. Takaki and Akari met before middle school. Before, they were both quiet and weaker kids. Not before. Because they were both quiet and weaker kids, they were inclined to stay inside during recess. Now, they were both in the library during every single recess, so eventually, they developed a bond with one another. Now, this bond was strengthened through the tough school life that they went through by their classmates. Now, through all the teasing, they could still make it through if they had each other. If they were together, all the kids that were teasing them, they didn't really matter. And, Akari and Takaki, they grew to be best friends throughout elementary school, and they established that childhood friendship that, it lasts forever. They both intended to be with one another, but reality struck, and due to her parents' work, Akari moved to Tochigi. Now, a little while after, Takaki finds out that his family is moving to Kagoshima, which is farther from Akari than he was previously. Now, throughout the act, you see the letters that Takaki and Akari send to one another, and how although the distance separates them, they still are close to one another. Now, these letters that they send to each other, they become their source of strength. And the first act, because it's told in the 90s, where email and texting just wasn't a thing, and the only thing they can do to communicate was write letters, that's how they describe. And that's what they do. That's how they show that bond, and how they're still making it work, even though they're separated, they're in different towns. Now, the first act really shows the relationship and the bond that they shared and how it was tested throughout that distance, and it really did it well. Now, Cosmonaut is the second act and does not focus on Akari, rather it focuses on Takaki and his friend Kanai in their 3rd year of high school. Now, Kanai met Takaki in middle school and ever since then has been in love with him. She had studied endlessly to end up in the same school as Takaki, and it's told through the eyes of Kanai, and it shows her struggle to be closer to Takaki, and her trying to tell him how she feels. Now, Kanai never decided where she would go after high school, because she wanted to stay with Takaki. Although she never does confess, she does realize one thing, that Takaki is still hoping to be with Akari, and that he's not interested in her. And that's just the flow of it. Now, the third and final act, 5 centimeters per second, is set in modern day. Now, it focuses on Takaki and Akari, there you go, the 2 again, and how they grew up. And it really shows you how distant they really became from one another, and it just wraps up the whole relationship that they had, and the relationship that could have been, but never did. It just did a job well. Now, the characters. There are really 3 characters in this film, Takaki Tono, Akari Shinohara, and Kanai Sumida. Now, Takaki Tono is the main character of the film, and the film revolves around him and his relationships with others. Now, due to his parents' job, he's forced to move a lot, and he's separated from Akari when they both moved away from Tokyo. Now, Akari Shinohara is Takaki's best friend in elementary school. She is Takaki's main love interest, and she, like Takaki, her family moves a lot, so she moves to Tochigi before middle school. Now, Kanai Sumida met Takaki in middle school and fell in love with him. She's just one of those girls, she just loves to surf, and she had learned surfing from her other sister, and one thing about her, she's unable to express her feelings for Takaki after numerous attempts. And those are the characters you really want to focus on. There's not others that you want to know. There's not others that are significant. So, now you're looking at the animation and art. Now, the art and animation was really great, in my opinion. I mean, it was breathtaking, to say the least, and it was one of those things that made this film so great. I mean, look at that. Look at that. You can't tell me that's not great art. Animation with the... Yeah, and despite how depressing this movie is, it's just one of those films that will keep you watching till the end. It's just a film where you don't necessarily have to enjoy the story to watch, because it was easy to be attracted towards the art, and that the art in itself is what kept me watching towards the very end. Now, in terms of subbed or dubbed, I would definitely choose subbed over the dubbed any time of the day. Now, although I originally watched the sub before I watched the dub before I watched the sub. The sub did a better job at, capturing the emotions of them. I feel like the dub was just... the voice acting was less than okay, and in my opinion, it was really... I didn't like it, but if you're one of those people that just likes to watch dubs and only watches dubs, go right ahead and watch it. But if you're the people that don't really care to watch either or, I recommend sub. That's what I have to go with. The music was done by Tenman, and it really did its job well with establishing the mood of the characters and the story itself. Yeah, the calming piano music brought the saddening tone to it, and a few somewhat happy and joyful parts of the movie were complemented by the film's soundtrack. So overall, the music, it was pretty good, and it did what it needed to for this film. So my final thought now, it's a great film. Although it's really depressing, it's worth the watch, definitely. And I would recommend this to anyone, because it's just a journey you go through. And although it kind of shows you the harsh reality of things, that life is life, and life's sometimes hard on you, it's still a fantastic movie, and it's just brought beautifully. And I'd watch it a third or fourth time, maybe even a fifth time. So I loved it. You guys should check it out. If you guys want to go check it out and watch it, you can watch it at Crunchyroll. They have the subbed and the dubbed versions. So, yeah, just go get it for a watch, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But, can't really say much more than that. So, thanks for watching this review, guys, and I'll see you later.